Well, good morning, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew. So it's day 25 of the Redeeming Eden Cycle Tour, RECT, Get Wrecked for Recovery. A 48-state, 4-year ride for addiction recovery awareness. Each day I pedal for someone who's passed away from addiction, and the whole end goal is to build a rehab. And this is state number 34, Michigan, on the ride to RAGBRAI 2022. A 4,500-mile loop around the Midwest, Ohio to Erie Trail, Upper Peninsula, Glacier National, Yellowstone, and east to RAGBRAI the last week of July, and it's all to raise awareness that addiction recovery options are available, that you don't have to die in your addiction. There's churches, celebrate recoveries, and rescue missions all over the nation, all over the world, that just want to help you, talk to you, and love you if you find yourself battling addiction. So yeah, I stayed here at the Best Western last night in Mackinaw City, and it snowed. It snowed all night, like heavily, like snow, which is really cool. However, it's like a 20-mile-an-hour west wind. It's not going to get above 33 degrees today. There's no ice, so I'm not worried so much about like wrecking on the ice. But I was going to take the Starline ferry, and it doesn't ride from the Mackinaw side. It only rides from the other side, the UP side, St. Ignace. So I've got to go to the MDOT people and get them to transport me over the bridge. You're not allowed to cycle the bridge. So that's where I'm going to head. I'm not even going to get breakfast yet. I'm going to make sure I knock that out of the way. And then once I get to the other side, I'll be able to kind of determine a little bit better what kind of time frame I'm looking at, if I've got time to cycle Mackinac Island. I talked to Dan Rabourn. He's my point man here in Michigan from the Grand Rapids area. Faithful brother and friend, and he said you got to do it. Like, you just got to do it. So I'm taking it that's the Lord sending me that way. And yeah, I just don't know if that's going to be today or tomorrow. In order to figure out what day it's going to be, I need to get on the road, and you'll see more of that right about now. Well, that was easier than what I thought it was going to be. Called the number. She said, I'll send them right your way. I got to get on the other side of the chain link fence, though. And it's snowing. Well, there's the sign, Michigan's Upper Peninsula. It feels like I'm in another state, you know? It really honestly does. Like, all this riding, and I'm still in Michigan after that beautiful bridge. So Tom picked me up, and he gave me a ride over, and the first thing we got to see was the big South Pier and Tower, and then kind of we went through the dip and got to see the cables where they hang down. He was explaining the bridge to me, that it's 242 feet above the water right there, and that the water is also about 242 feet deep. Then we got to see the other pier, and then as we got closer to this side, there was just this slurry of ice and icebergs and stuff, and I looked off to the left. Tom pointed it out to me, and it's still frozen solid over on the left side. He said the whole strait was froze over this winter. He gave me some tips about the UP. He also said I probably need to stay as far south as I can because it's still gonna snow heavily up there for quite a little bit, so don't get on the north side for too long. I'll still try and just figure it all out, go wherever the Lord leads, but I do take every single piece of advice. I can't get out there to the sign to take the picture with the bike, but Hey, I'm a Youper now. Hey, fellow Youpers. Anyway, I've got to get on the interstate and take the first exit. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Love you guys. See you later. Going with this snow and having it pass me is one of the weirdest feelings I've ever had on a bike. I remember there was a tunnel in Illinois that gave me this really strange, fresh feeling, but yeah, really, really cool. Alright, so I just rolled in here to the Mackinaw Grill. I had my first pasty. Brian, thank you so much for recommending that. And Ron, my server, has got a 14-month victory story. So I got to sit there and chat with him, and I was like, you know, should I go over to the island? Because I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see it. It's like whiteout snow that just keeps coming through. And he was like, man, I'd wait until like it was clearer, because you know, you want to see all the sights and all that kind of stuff. And so then while we were standing there, he's talking about an Easter brunch that they're gonna have here, that they kind of like, they've got all this plastic that they've got up, and so I was thinking, man, I'm really close to Easter. So I think this is what I'm gonna do. I think this is the way that the Lord is leading. I think I'm gonna go to a hotel tonight, go to Mackinac Island tomorrow, ride the whole thing, actually spend time and check it out, come back here, and then I may be at a perfect place. Ron was telling me that there's several churches in the area that I could go to, so I may be at the perfect place for an Easter service. I don't know. I'm going to still continue to think through that, but as far as, I'm not worried about, you know, tomorrow. As far as today is concerned, I think I'm going to hold off and wait for these bands of just thick white snow. It's also really complicated riding in the snow. It goes like up your nose and sticks to my contacts. It's different than what I was expecting, that's for sure. So while I really wanted to ride in the snow, I don't really want to continue to ride in the snow. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to find somewhere to stay, and then just kind of recalculate, recalibrate, and figure things out and pray. So, let's go. So I rolled into the Firehouse Inn, and all of my prayers are answered. So, you know, Easter was on my radar, right? Like, I knew that I wanted to stop and go to an Easter service, but I wasn't thinking here. I was thinking farther down too. And so the snow set in, and then when Ron mentioned that they have an Easter brunch there at the Mackinaw Grill, like, it kind of got my gears turning, where I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm close enough now, like, this might work. So the next, you know, hinge pin that needed to be put into this hole for this door to swing was a place. And so I went to the Best Western and, like, stood in the parking lot because they're closed, and then Holiday Inn, they're closed. Comfort Inn, they're closed. Like, everybody opens later on. They don't open right now because it still snows up here at this time of year. What am I doing? Anyway, so the guy in the Best Western told me, well, check down here at this budget place. And I called them, and it was over $100. It was $120, $119.99 per night. And I'm looking at it like tonight and tomorrow night, possibly, if I make all day tomorrow exploring Mackinaw Island. I've done that several times, you know, like Bar Harbor, Martha's Vineyard. Like, there's been a few times where I've spent an entire day just exploring a place, meeting people, seeing the sights. You know, the views that I get to record get views on YouTube. So a lot of times that's important to, like, get the things that y'all want to be captivated by visually in the areas that I'm visiting. So I come across the street from the hotel across the street, and I'm just standing in the parking lot because this is the Firehouse Inn, and it looks all closed. There's 2 cars out front. I called the number, nobody answered. And so I just start looking on my phone again, and I'm standing there, and Austin walks up. And so he's the son of the owner. I guess they got this place together. And I asked him about the story about the firehouse part, and he said, well, the previous owner was a fireman. He said, my dad was a police officer, is a police officer. He said, so we're still in the same family. And I was like, well, that's awesome. And I kind of told him what I was doing. But he said, yeah, he said, we can put you up for a room. He said, the room's not like ready, because we're, you know, it's out of season. He said, so it's going to be cold. He said, but I think there's towels. There's, you know, all the stuff that you'll need. He said, but there's a baseboard heater you'll have to turn on. And so I was like, yeah, that'll be great. What do you charge, you know? And it ended up being $68. So for essentially the same price that I was going to pay for one night at the hotel down the street, I get 2 here. So that seals the deal. I stay here through this crazy snowstorm. I go see Mackinaw Island tomorrow. And then I come back here tomorrow night. And then I go to the Easter service, wherever that may be, on Sunday morning, resurrection morning. And then I go to the Easter brunch at Mackinaw Grill. And I'm going to put as many miles in headed down to that I can. And it also looks like the winds get more favorable and calm down some that far out in advance. So it's all the puzzle pieces are fitting together. Again, I can always do a 90-mile day or whatever that I need to make up time. But I think, like, just personal worship for me, being able to go to a resurrection service will be a blessing. It was last year in Vero Beach, so I'm sure it will be this year again. And it's hard to find, like, going to church services while I'm out on these tours because of the time and the distance that I have to cover. It's just complicated. So I really have to plan going to church. And I'm planning to do that on Sunday morning, which I'm excited about. Last cool blessing, so I'm going to make this a whole video. Last cool blessing is I was like, well, do you guys have a washer and dryer? Because I didn't get to wash and dry my clothes last night because I was up till 1 o'clock working on the video. And I just slept till like 8:30 this morning. And they said, yeah, sure, we sure do. So I didn't even have to pay. Like, I took quarters in there. And he was like, no, just wash your clothes. So I didn't even have to pay for that. So blessings on blessings on blessings. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, Mackinaw Island and Easter Sunday, here we come. So, with all that being said, if you know anybody who's passed away from addiction in any form or fashion, please drop their name in the comments or find me through the Papa link in the description, and I would love to ride for your person and celebrate their life with you for a day. That Papa link has all the Redeeming Eden social media. You can go there and find out all about the different social media that Redeeming Eden has. If you know anybody who's actively addicted, share this with them. Thank you so much, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew. Every one of you that is commenting on every video, liking every video, sharing every video, and thanks to all of you who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. The analytics are loving it, and so am I, so thank you. And yeah, don't forget that Redeeming Eden is a non-profit ministry through International Gospel Outreach. I will also leave that link in the description, and in the Papa link you can go there and find out more about Redeeming Eden and about the Cody Jordan Forever Funeral Fund, which is a fund that I set up to help families that lose loved ones to addiction with paying funeral costs. So yeah, from here at the Firehouse Inn, I think the big battle of the day was getting across the bridge. Like that I knew was going to be the thing I needed to do, and then everything else just kind of fell into place. I have a total peace about it, and everything works. So yeah, and I'm not putting my tent up in the snow. Like, I think that's something I want to try and probably will have to do at some point. But if I can avoid it right now, I'd really like to. So yeah, from here on a very snowy, blizzardy, whiteouty kind of day. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. I'll see you later. Have a good night.